Well, I got my one viewer, so here I am. I look real tired, but really I just woke up. I didn't overslept. Okay. I was supposed to be going live 7 o'clock. I didn't overslept. But if y'all was on my timeline yesterday, you know I went live and I started to tell my testimony and about what God did for me. And I left off on saying how once you get them seeds planted in your heart to do good for the next person, don't fight against it. You let them seeds grow and maneuver into your heart and make you become the beautiful person that you need to become. Because, I mean, you could be trying to say you're beautiful, you could make yourself beautiful on the inside, you could put on the makeup, you can go buy all the nice fancy clothes, but on the inside, you won't be beautiful, because it's all about what's on the inside of you. You ever heard the saying, well, the apartment building is really nice, the building's nice, but the inside, ain't no lights on, it's cold, there's no food. And then you hear, well, the building doesn't look that well. But then you go on the inside and it's like, but it's so cozy in here. And they got so much hospitality. Never judge a book by its cover. Always be open-minded, open-hearted to anything that's coming into your pathway and into your life. Because any test within a test is a blessing. Within anything that you got to go through, and within your next level in your life, you got to shed your old skin. You can't go in to your next level with the same skin on that you just went. You got to shed that skin. But when you shed that skin, you just literally going into a new light. When you shed that skin, it's like you are being rebirthed again. And whenever there's a sign of death, just know there's life within death. Like, that's what I was trying to get across to y'all last night. When we grieve, when people pass away, it's not a problem to grieve, but grieve in the right ways. Like when someone passes away, when somebody passes away, we're sad because of the memories, because they had life and now there's no more life into them. We're sad because we won't get to see them again. We won't get to have them here again. We're sad because whatever we did, we probably didn't even have a good relationship with that person before they passed away. And now that they're gone, we can't even get it right. And that's why God said, make sure that you get it right. Make sure you get it right. Make sure you stay on the task that is given to you. Make sure that you stay on the right path, because if you slip up just at any time, or if you wait until the last minute, or I'm going, like Faith said, I'm going to wait until tomorrow, I'm going to wait until next year, I'm going to wait until next week to pray to God, I'm going to wait until this day to change. No, do it now. What's better than any time right now than to change right now? Because before you know it, it'll be too late. Within the blink of an eye, anything will change. Everything can change for you. Down here, how we feel like a year is forever, that's just a blink of an eye up there. So you got to understand that time is of the essence, and you don't have a lot of it. You got to move fast. You really do. But basically, so I had now been in 2016. I had got out. I had found out that I was alone. I had to go through everything alone. And I'm going to tell you, it was not a good process, because who wants to be alone? Not everybody wants to be alone. A lot of people in this world feel like they need people, feel like they need approval from people. They feel like they need some type of presence or some type of something from people, when you don't really need nothing from people. All you really need is God. You don't need people. God placed people in your life, yes, but you don't need them. You really don't. So he took me and he started showing me how basically to pray at all times, how to pray in all times, because I remember I told y'all I would pray, but I didn't used to hide the word in my heart, and I would pray, but I didn't have the intentions to continue to pray once I would get what I would receive from him. So he started to teach me to pray at all times. He started to teach me how to hide the word in my heart. He started to teach me to understand how to understand the scriptures, because a lot of us, we will pick up the Bible and then we'll go in the Bible and then we were trying to read the stories. We tried to read the books in the Bible, but we don't understand what these scriptures are saying to us. So it's like, it's frustrating. We'll put it down. No, pray to him. Ask him to help you to understand what these messages in these scriptures are trying to, what these messages in these scriptures are saying. What are these messages in these scriptures? Help pray to him and ask him to help you to understand what exactly you're supposed to be receiving. Because if you don't, and you're sitting here and you're trying to lean on your own understanding, you won't get it. You won't understand. That's why you needed to pray in the first place. Honestly, and all the weight that you have, once you begin to pray, you're not supposed to hold that on you anyways. That's our problem as humans. We hold the weight on our shoulders when it's not our weight to hold. When you pray, you give that weight over and you take it up to that altar and you give it to God. Because only he can fight that battle. The battle is not yours, the battle is his. And I had to learn that the hard way. So I have to say I was out for at least a month, and I didn't learn I'm going to tell you like this. In the beginning, you don't ever want to learn the lesson. Like, you don't. You just keep wanting to touch the fire, even though you know it's going to burn, even though you know it's hot, and it's not good for you. It's going to burn. So I went right back to my friend's house, but I wasn't accepted. I wasn't accepted when I went over there, So slowly but surely, it started to change for me. Slowly but surely, my heart started to be more open to change in my life, because I was so stuck in the path that I felt like I was so stuck in the path that I was in, that I didn't want to change. Even though I had prayed for it, I didn't want to do this. It was like, no, because I had already changed. I had went through so much change already. Like, I already experienced so much change already. It was like, wow, now that I'm where I am and I'm comfortable with where I'm at, I got to change again. You for real? Like, I don't even want to change. Like, wow, like, is this what was gonna happen when I prayed? Like, be careful what you pray for, because asking you shall receive. Honestly, asking you shall receive. So be careful what you pray for, because he gonna give you what you're praying for, but it's gonna be what was in your heart. It's not gonna be what he hear your prayer, of course. But while you praying, make sure what's in your heart is lined up with your mind, because what's in your heart and what's in your mind gonna come out your mouth. Because when you get something in your heart, it's in your heart, and it grows and it grows and it grows. And now your mind is on it, and you feel me? It's rolling, and it's rolling in your mind. And now your body feel it. Like, now your body's aligned with it. And you like, ooh, I have to do it. Like, I gotta get this out. I gotta get it. You feel me? I have to do this. And now all you have to do is speak. Now you all have to do is speak into existence. So that's why your mouth is one of the most powerful weapons. Okay, because when you can speak something into existence. Ooh, so you got to be careful what you say to people. You got to be careful how you speak to people. You got to be careful what you speak into your own life. Because you can go and you can pray, and then you can turn around and then you can speak your blessings away. Right when you go pray, you can turn around and be like, nah, that ain't for me. You can speak I'm not worthy enough. But you are worthy. You've always been worthy enough. And if God love you and if he with you, then who possibly could be against you? Other than Satan, and he can't even really be against you. Anything he do to you, he got to get permission from God. Anything he do. Y'all ever heard about the faithful servant? Huh? Y'all ever heard about him? About how he had everything. God blessed him with everything. Okay, and the devil went. He went up to go have a conversation with God. So God asked the devil, "Where have you been?" He nothing, roaming around the earth. Doing what I do best. He like, "Well, have you seen my faithful servant?" He like, "Yeah, I seen him." He like, "Isn't he so faithful and almighty towards my name? Like, doesn't he worship me well?" He like, "Yeah, of course, because you give him everything." Like, I bet you if you took something from him, then he wouldn't worship you the way that he do now. If you gave me permission to go into his life and take something from him, he would not worship you the way he does now. So God gave him the permission to test him because he knew what was in his heart. Hi, Auntie. So he knew high faith, because I'm not really knowing. He had put a message on me, and I will get so into it that I don't really pay attention to these comments like that. My bad, y'all, but I will get to them. So God gave him the permission to go down into his faithful servant's life, and he took something from him. But when he took it from him, he didn't curse him. He didn't. His servant did not curse the Lord. He did not curse God. Instead, he prayed and he cursed himself. He didn't curse God. So the devil went back up again. They had the same conversation. Where have you been? Oh, on the earth, roaming around the earth, doing what I do best. Have you seen my faithful servant? Yes, I've seen your faithful servant. Doesn't he do the works well? Yes, but that's only because you gave him this and you give him that. But if you allow me to take this from him, then he won't worship you. So he like, okay, go ahead. You can take everything away from him but his life. Spare him his life. So when I tell you that he didn't took this man riches, he didn't took everything from him, including his family, and he's ugly now. So he didn't took his beauty too. Us as humans, we would have been cursed God. Oh, God, you left me alone. Why would you do this to me? Why would you leave me in this hole? I thought when I started following you that you was going to be good for me. But why, if you was God and if you was this good person, you wouldn't want bad for me. And no. No. That's not what you do. You don't start looking at things in the bad way. You don't start looking at all of it, because it's easy to look at the negative. Look at the lip gloss. Look at this lip gloss. I can look at this lip gloss in 10 different ways. The fact that it costs 99 cents, and I guess it's not the $10 lip gloss, you feel me? Or I can look at the fact that it works the very same as any other lip gloss do, and it has my lips looking beautiful, okay? That's the positive side. But you see how I just said the negative right off, and immediately this lip gloss is 99 cents, okay? Like, you feel me? Like, and it's very, very, like, sticky compared to other lip glosses. Like, you see, you can point out anything negative. It's so easy. My hair, it's not straight at all. I put the scarf on because I don't want it to be looking like it did yesterday. You feel me? It's not, like, honestly, like, you feel me? You feel me? People could say that that's been, you feel me? Whatever. No, like, you could look at situations and learn to look at the beauty in that situation. Because when you do, you already are blessed. You really already are blessed. I honestly, and that's where you found Jesus in your situation. Because a lot of times we get so attuned, because there are some of us who do already walk so close to Jesus to the point to where when he put us in a situation where he's there with us, but we have to find him in that situation, we feel like we're alone. And that's why I brought up Footprints in the Sand last night. Because in the Footprints in the Sand, within that story, they were walking, and there were two footprints in the sand. And through everything in that, it was a screen up in the sky, and everything on that screen, it showed everything that person had lived in their life. Every trial, tribulation, good, happy, it showed everything on that screen. And there was the person, and then there was God, and they were walking down. But the person noticed that through all the good things, God had walked with him. He had talked with him. He had taught him, he was there with him. But when it got bad, he noticed that it was only one footprint in the sand. He noticed that it was only one set of footprints in the sand. He told him, but God, I noticed that, he said, God, you said that you would not ever forsake me. But I noticed that when it got hard for me, and I went into trials and tribulations, there were no longer two footprints in the sand. There was only one. Then God replied back to him. He told him, my child, my sweet, sweet child, I will not ever forsake you. For when you saw one footprint in the sand, that was me, and I was carrying you because you were weak. You were weak. When we go through things and we thinking, because when we go through stuff, we either finna reach our breaking, like we're finna reach our breaking point. At most times, we're about to reach our breaking point. We can't do this. God needs to come in right now, and He needs to deliver us and get us through what we finna go through and what we need to go through. Because we tired of going through the same situation. Now we really tired. Now we so tired that we done dropped up on our knees and we praying and we crying so much and so hard to the point to where we can't even breathe. He delivered you, wake up the next morning, and now it's like everything you was just crying so hard about, you just start getting these calls, and you just start getting these windows and these doors just start, and these opportunities just start being presented to you, and these doors just start opening for you. God did that. You didn't do that. He put them resources there for you. He opened those doors for you. He put them people there for you. You didn't do that alone. And if you learned how to be kind, if you learned how to remain kind in your heart, and remain loving in your heart, and remain the ways of Jesus, and keep them and hide them in your heart, then you will know how to recognize these people when He send them into your life. You will know how to be open enough to let them come in and do what God is sending them into your life to do for you. You won't be so judgmental, because you're not supposed to be judgmental of anything. Just be the judge. Judge be the judges by a just judge. You're not supposed to judge anything in life. You're not supposed to, like, honestly, that's one of the main things. Like, and I, back in my room at my mom's, I have the 10 Commandments on my wall, and I used to love to do things like ask people just to see, like, just to see if they know Jesus. And then, when you do that, they wonder. It makes them wonder, who is this Jesus person? I say stuff like, well, I just start speaking like, thou should not covet, like, thou should not, you feel me? Like, I would just start letting them know, like, like, honor your father and mother, and you feel me, you shall live long days, like, honestly, like, thou shall not steal, like, you feel me? Real life, like, I would just start saying, like, did you pray? Like, make sure you pray, because like, anything that has anyone or anything that knows Jesus, knows that He's the Son of God, believes in His works, you feel me, walks in His light, you have life, period. So basically, I got the memo, so I ended up leaving, and I ended up moving away from San Bernardino, and I ended up moving towards Bakersfield, and I ended up moving towards my dad's house. And I'm going to tell you like this: once you finally just take a deep breath and just say, okay, I'm going to just go. I'm going to just do it. I'm going to just take this leap of faith. I'm going to just jump in it. I'm going to just do it. And I'm just not going to look back. I'm just not going to hold on to my past. I'm going to just let it all go. I'm going to just dive in like there's nothing else that, when you do that, you'd be surprised. Like, it might seem like it's going to hurt, and that's just in your mind. But you don't even know the best thing you did for yourself, because I just did it. I just left. Like, I just let go, and I just left. When I tell you I was happy out there, I was with my siblings. On my dad's side, I was with my siblings out there. Excuse me. And I started receiving more and more dreams out there. And I hadn't only been out there for, like, no more than 2 months. Because, yes, I was learning, and I was over there at my dad's house, and I was learning, and I had been dreaming again, and I was not keeping my dreams. I was not keeping them like I were when I was in juvenile hall. Like, I weren't keeping them anymore. I wasn't writing them down anymore. I would just try to remember them when I wake up. I would just try to keep them in my memory. But you can't do that. Like, when it comes to a dream and a vision, in order to keep that vision, you got to write that down. You got to have your vision written out. Like, that's part of manifestation. You feel me? So when I was not writing my dream down, I wasn't doing the first part of manifestation. Law of attraction, whatever y'all call it, but I call it manifestation, because my God is a manifestator. Like, He is the God of the universe. Like, so if y'all gonna say law of attraction, then hey, each to its own. But I was out there, and I was in Bakersfield, and he had been sending me people. He had been sending me people that I could connect with, that I could relate to. It weren't the people that I had preferred, but he had been sending me people. I was getting the advice that I needed, and all the things that I had been praying for was basically right in front of me. But when you do that, when you pray and you get everything that you've been praying for right in front of you, here come the past. It's always gonna knock on your door, always. But that don't not mean you gotta answer it. And I would encourage you not to answer it, especially if you didn't already forgiven everyone and everybody. You don't have to answer that at all. Because when you're about to succeed somewhere, you about to cross that line, I promise you that past gonna knock on your door. It's gonna knock on your door. She's gonna knock on your door. It's gonna knock on your door. Whatever. Like, your door's gonna get knocked on. And so, my door got knocked on. And me, as a human being, I answered it. So, I end up, my crazy self, going off. And now I had a problem with starting projects and not finishing them. Like, I would start something, like for instance this. Was supposed to go live and do my testimony way in 2017. And I'm barely doing it now. Like, I have a problem with procrastination and starting projects and not finishing them. Like, I would just leave it alone. Like, I would just ghost it. Like, wow. I had to stop that. So, I left my whole situation in Bakersfield. I left everything. It was peaceful, all that. I left my siblings. I left everything. And I snuck off to a situation where I wasn't even fully welcome. Like, where I was at, I was 100% welcome. I could be there, I could feel okay, comfortable, Where I was going back to, I wasn't even welcome all the way. But it obviously wasn't in the full plan. It was not the full nothing that I was supposed to be doing. But I did it anyways. Just trying to change my course. Just getting in my own way. So I went out, and then I caught the bus at like 12 o'clock at night. Because the whole time I had been out there in Bakersfield, I had been getting the same kind of dreams, the same kind of messages. But as usual, like I told y'all, my problem was I would get in my own way. I would not stay. I had to learn. I had to learn the hard way, not to get in my own way. So I would get in my own way. So he would show me, and I'd be like, oh, hold on, like I gotta do something about this. Like, this can't happen. Like, I gotta do something about this. Like, I know about it. I gotta do something about it. Like, So he showed me like this is what's really going on over here. Like, and I'd be like, okay, I'm about to leave. I'm about to go out there. I'm about to get into the field. I gotta go and I gotta fight for what I know. I left, went out, snuck 12 o'clock at night, and snuck on the Greyhound, snuck to San Bernardino. And I snuck from San Bernardino, and I snuck to Vegas, you feel me? And I had fun for at least 3 days out there, But then within that trip, though, it was something that I had learned. It was like whatever's broken by whatever temple God chooses to make fall down, you can't put back together again, no matter how hard you try. There's no putting that back together again. You just gotta let that go. Cause you trying to put that back together again is like, ever had soup, make some soup before, and then you add the salt to it and the seasonings to it. But if you add too much of it, you kind of just messed up, because you can't take away the salt out of the soup, out of the juice. I mean, it's juice. Like, it's already it's messed up now. If you add just enough, then it's perfect. Your salt and your seasoning is perfect. When you don't got enough, then something's wrong. When you got like like something that's solid, you can easily just wash it off and re-season it again. When it's soup, you can't do nothing. You have to deal with what you have already. So, honestly, that's something that I had to learn. Because when I went and I was out there, and I handled it, and I was out there for the 3 days that I was out there, I had to learn that situation I couldn't put back together again. I couldn't go and recreate the soup bowl. It was already way too salty. Like, it was already way too watery. It was already way too old. It was already way too not for me. Like, to the point to where I was hurting myself even more, trying to put it together and get closure. You don't need, and let me make this clear. You don't need closure from nobody. You get closure from yourself. You can't get closure from the next person, because somebody could tell you something. You could be asking them for this closure, and they could give it to you, and you could feel like that's not even it. You can feel like that's not even the answer. And now you done been hassling this person for years over an answer that they didn't finally gave you, and that's not even it. Now you want more. No. You got to give yourself that closure. You really do. Because what if you go and find that person and they living life lovely? Like, real life, they living life so lovely. Like, but you been stuck in this mode. Like, you stuck right where they left you. When you go find them, you hating them. You trying to steal their good energy and all that. Like, and they like, whoa, you think they been petty, they killing you with kindness. Ain't no such thing as killing somebody with kindness when if you already really genuinely kind in your heart. Y'all better stop that. That's that being spiteful. The people who ain't really kind in the heart then came up with the kill them with kindness. What? No, I thought that when you already, I thought that when you already kind in your heart, it just comes out as a natural flow. That's that, oh, I'm matching energies, and when you treat me wrong, I match your energy, and I'm gonna do you the same way. Y'all need to stop that. That's why you get the same thing happening to you over and over again. Okay? Just because somebody treats you wrong, don't mean you gotta treat them wrong too. Real life. Just because that person is ugly in the heart, don't mean you gotta be ugly in the heart too. Sometimes you being kind in the heart towards an ugly-hearted person could plant that one little piece of light in them. Real life. You don't turn, and two wrongs don't make the two wrongs don't make it right. So you don't go and you don't be mean to that person because they being mean to you. You don't turn your nose up at that person because they turn their nose up at you. You don't do that. You pray for that person. You be nice to that person. You pray that person be blessed. Pray for your neighbors. Pray for your enemies. Love your enemies like you love yourself. Love your enemies and love your neighbors like you love yourself. What do you mean? That's the problem nowadays. And I had to learn that on my own. So, once I went out there, just know I never went back to Bakersfield again. Just know I stayed in San Bernardino. And I just did not get out of my way for a long time. Like, for a long period of time. Like, I have to tell you, for the most of 2016, I did not get out of my way at all. Like, I had to go through a heartbreak. I had to go through a situation where it broke me inside out all over again. All over again. I had to go through a situation where people who was close to me, like, was not close to me no more. Again, all over again. I had to go through the phase that I had just went through all over again. Remember I told you, if you don't get the test and you don't pass it the first time, you're going to keep taking the test until you pass it. It's just like high school. So, when I tell you I found the church that was right down the street from my house. I started going to church, like, faithfully. I started going to church. I started reading more, looking up things, reading a lot, like reading a lot more. I started just talking all day, every day, just to God, just like in my mind, just conversations, like to God, like, oh, today we look real nice today. I don't think it's crazy because I know it was you, God. Like, I'm about to go walk to the store and, like, like, just talking to him, like, as if he was, because he is my friend. Like, talking to God every single day, going to church every single day. And you know what was really crazy? I didn't even care about the people from, like, my past anymore. I didn't care to go and try to wipe up nothing. I didn't care to go and try to recreate the soup. I didn't care to do none of that no more. I didn't care to do nothing anymore. All I cared to do was continue to stay on this path. Because you know what's so crazy? When you really got your eyes on God, you don't even want to look back behind you. You don't want to look on the side of you. You don't want to look on this side. You don't want to do nothing but stay focused. He teach you focus. You don't want to do nothing but stay focused and follow that path and keep it walking and keep it talking and keep it marching towards him. You don't want to do nothing else. You don't want to do nothing else. You really don't. I'm going to be so honest with you because that was how I was. You don't want to go look back. You don't want to continue to stay in what was hurting you. Once he finally give you a dosage of what he been trying to show you the whole time. You don't want to. Because I'm going to tell you just like this. I got my first car when I was 17 years old. My first vehicle. And I did it by myself. Because I stayed faithful. And I stayed prayed up. And I stayed going to church. And I followed him. And I was obedient. I got my first car when I was 17 years old. And I got my job. Like, and it was everything. Like, it was everything. Like, it was everything. But it was like, I didn't understand that I would have tests. I would have many tests. I didn't understand that when you got these cars and you got these blessings, that's when all the friends come around, the so-called friends. I didn't understand that when you got all these things, all these material things that make you look good, that's when they come around. They don't really honestly care if you are okay on the inside either. They just want to come around to look nice with all of your nice things, you know? And sometimes those people aren't even meant to come around and be there and you for me enjoy what you've been blessed with, because they just want to make you lose it. So I got my car and I had got my job. I was working retailing and detailing, you know, and I was happy about it. I had a stable, You know, when I first got my car, I was scared to drive, so I had the person who I bought the car from. I had them drive my car all the way to my mom's house, and I called my friend. I'm like, guess what? I just got me a car right now. Like, I just bought me a car. I don't know what to do. Like, I want to drive it so bad. What should I do? You know, she like, you better drive. You better face your fears. You better do what you need to do. You just bought you a car. Like, why buy a car if you're not going to teach yourself? You know, like, this is the things that you need to know to survive in life. So, I'll get in the car. I'm like, okay, like, I'm finna drive over there right now. I didn't know nothing about I didn't know nothing about it. And I was so nervous. My foot would be on the driving pedal and it'd be on the brake pedal, so I'm driving like a stick shift. And my legs just shaking and vibrating, and I can't even stay calm. I make it all the way towards to the west side and end up getting in a little crash at the community hospital. Hurried up and tried to get out of there because I couldn't do it. Y'all know I'm only 17, so I did not have a license. I did not have an ID. I clearly didn't go and take no tests because I did not know how to drive. But I made it there safely though. So I remember waking up in the morning time on my friend's couch, and my keys there, and me and her just being amazed that I had made it there herself. She's like, "You're crazy. You actually made it. Like you're blessed. Like I see your car. Like you're blessed. Like I see the movement. Like I see everything. I see the progress. Like keep going. You know." So I leave from there, and then I go visit a few people, you know. Then I return back home. I take my rest, you know, and then now this is my everyday routine. Now I go to church, you know. I drive it, and now I show my church family, you know. I'm like, look what God blessed me with. Like, you know, I stand up in church and I get my first testimony, and I tell them about how it was hard for me, and how I tell them how I was going through a transformation and how He blessed me at the end, how He opened my eyes to a situation that I was blind to. Like at once I was blind, but now I could see. Like at once I felt like I couldn't feel what was coming, but that's because I was sleeping. I was sleeping. But when I heard that call, then He called me, I woke up. When He called me, I answered. You know, so I was telling them about it. And they like, you know, well, it doesn't stop here. It don't stop here. Then when He bless you once, He gonna bless you again. If you keep being faithful, then He will be faithful to you. It don't stop here. You better keep going. So I kept going. But remember that test I told y'all about that was gonna come, that I didn't know was gonna come? Yeah, it was coming. And remember how I told y'all that you should be prepared? You should be prepared, and that's why you should always be in your book. I'm gonna tell y'all, look, I have been a little prepared, but I have been so used to dependent on everything and on God's move and depending on everything that I'm like, okay, God, what's next? Like, what's next? I need to know the times, and I need to know this, and I need to know that. And it's like, I done gave you enough to where you're prepared in all the places you need to be prepared in. You don't need to know anything else. You don't need to know anything else. I love you too. So yeah, He's like, you don't need to know anything else at all, because sometimes when we pray, He only give us what we can handle. He not gonna give you too much, because if He give you too much, like I told you, I was a person who used to get in my own way. You don't want to be a person who get in your own way, because He can give you a vision of something, and you get in your own way of that. You can get in your own way of your vision just immediately off tops, not even knowing. Because there was a story in the Bible where it was a female who were born. If I'm not mistaken, if it was not Isaac, it was Isaiah. It was his mother before he were born. It was a female. She were born, and she was pregnant with twins. She didn't know she was pregnant with twins. She didn't know what she knew she was pregnant, but she did not know what she was pregnant with. So she asked the Lord. She said, "You blessed me with this. You gave me this. You gave this to me. But why does it feel like pain? Why does it feel like this?" He told her, because for one, you're pregnant with two babies, not just one. And those two babies are of two different nations. And that's just all He gave her. That's all He gave her. That's all He gave her. Literally. Like, they're of two different nations. So basically, when they're in two different nations, you know, when you're in two different nations, you clash. You feel me? So she wondering, like, what's all this going on in my stomach? Like, it's a lot of going on in my stomach. Like, can you let me know what's going on? He like, it's because you have 2 babies in your stomach, and these 2 babies are gonna be, they're gonna lead 2 different nations. Now, if he had told her that the 2 babies in the stomach were going to lead to 2 different nations, and one nation wasn't going to be for the other nation, and that they were going to be separated, and that they weren't going to be for each other, and all that stuff, she would have took it upon herself to try to change stuff, and you can't change that. She would have had stress over her heart when you don't need to be stressing at all. Nothing, none of that at all. Because in that story, once she finally had her babies, one of them, the first one that came out, were red all over the body and was hairy all over the body. And then the second one came out, and when he came out, he grabbed the baby who were all red and had hair over the body. He grabbed him by his ankle. But I know y'all know the scripture when he says, bruise will be his heel. You know, when he step on his crown, he have his foot on the top of his crown. His heel, his ankle will be bruised. I know y'all know what scripture I'm talking about. So, when that chest hit me, and it was my birthday, and I had the choice to either continue to go, because I could have went out to dinner with my church family, or I could have went out to go party with my friends, with the people that I was around at that time. I chose to go out with the people that I was around that time because I felt like, well, I've been away and I haven't been with anyone. So maybe I should just go out. Maybe I should just have fun. Like, maybe everything is cool now. Maybe I could trust it now, you know? But I had a kidney infection. So I had went out, but nobody could even get me no water for me to drink. I couldn't find any water for me to drink so that I could drink with them, so I could have fun with them. So I got in my car and I left. But before I got in my car and I left, I saw an old friend. I saw one of my old friends that I used to be very close to, and it sent me back because I hadn't seen them in almost a whole year. Like, I hadn't seen them, like, cause to me, once you hit 6 months, you hit, and basically you got another 6 months to go, and you feel me, it's up for you. So I hadn't seen them in a long time. I'm like, okay, like, I got to go now. Like, I feel like I'm going down the wrong path. Like, I have to go. So I got up out of there. I left, and I went home. Come to find out that it was a lot going on. It wasn't meant for me to be there. It was a lot going on. And that's what I meant to say in my dreams about yesterday, about my dreams, when my godmom came in my dreams. After she gave me that message, she walked off and she went into her room. One thing people should know is a good spirits can't be around bad spirits. Good spirits can't be around negative spirits. So when a good spirit come around and then they leave and they disappear, just know something negative might be about to come to you. Something negative might be about to try to come to you, because when you're asleep in the spiritual realm, this negative spirits could come towards you. But if you know your power, they can't mess with you. If you don't know your power, then they can mess with you. So you gotta know your power. So they won't touch you. They can't come near you at all. They will leave you alone. So my godmom went into her room. She left me there. She went into her room. Right when she went into her room, immediately the whole scenery changed. And it was still a party. It was still everything. Everybody was still lit. But I was alone. I was standing by myself. Nobody would talk to me. Not even my best friends. Not even people that I was helping around at that time. I had help back in the past. People who were helping me. Nobody knew. It was like we were strangers. Like, they didn't know me. Like, they didn't want to talk to me or something. Like, and I'm like, okay. Like, I had seen enough. So I go to look for her in her room, and she's not there. She disappeared. By this time now, you guys, when I tell you my dream had became a nightmare, and like everything that she had been telling me about, it was no longer just like speaking. It was action inside of the dream. Like, it was so spooky. And if you don't know who I'm about to bring up right now, then you will after this video. So the door opens in her living room, and it's a light around the door. And the person that comes in through the light, because I'm standing at the other end of her door, the person who comes through the light, my big homie, his name was Dundada. Okay, we call him D, but his name was Dundada. He passed away. He had already passed away when I was in there. When I went to jail and I got out of jail, everything. He had already passed away. So when I received this dream, and I received what I received about this and that dream, I thought that it was very powerful, because Dun Dada, I don't know, I would have to say it had to be the both of them, because when he walked through that door, I didn't see his brother, I saw him. He walked through the door, he came through the door of light, and he hugged me. And then once he hugged me, it was like, even though the people weren't talking to me no more, it wasn't affecting me. It was like, okay, like I know now, like I got the things that I need, so that that I can embrace it and I don't be angry towards it. I can embrace it and I don't have hatred towards it. So basically, I had to tell y'all the rest of that from that yesterday, so you can understand as I'm going on with with this part of my testimony. So when I told y'all I felt like I was going down the wrong path, and I hurried up and I left out of there, and I went away and I went home. I did the right move, because it was a lot of deceit going on. It was a lot of things that I did not know that was going on in that moment. I didn't know that it was a lot of things. I thought that people were really with me, or they were finally with me, but they weren't with me. They were against me. So I had to decide if I would forgive them or if I would hold it against them. And I forgave, But I got sick. So I got sick, and I couldn't do anything. I got sick, and I had pneumonia. I had walking pneumonia. And I waited until it got too bad, and I couldn't walk or anything. I could barely crawl. I couldn't do anything at all. And I got rushed to the hospital, okay? And before that even happened to me, I got my car got taken. And it didn't get taken, like, because I got pulled over or nothing. No, I was so young-minded still. I didn't even remember to put gas in my car. So I had been driving around, and I had never went to the gas station. So my car broke down, and I left it there for 3 days on the passageway from San Bernardino to Rialto. If you're a Dino or a Toe baby, then you know what I'm talking about. My car broke down on that passageway, and I left it there for 3 days, and I went back for it, and it was gone. But I had put the keys in the car, so I should have expected that. So my car had already got taken away from me, and I was still working my job, but I had got walking pneumonia, and so I had to get rushed to the hospital. And when I got rushed to the hospital, I experienced nobody really knew that I was in there until it had got posted, because I didn't even know how serious it was. Like, I didn't know how serious it was even when I was in my mom's bathroom on my back and I couldn't breathe. I was experiencing my body shutting down on me from my lungs. Like, it hurted so bad, and it didn't. No matter how you're crying, no matter how you're trying to gasp, it does not work. Everything's going against you. Your body's shutting down on you. Like, I did not understand how serious that was. So when I got rushed to the hospital and they told me what I had, they told me that I was lucky to be alive, that I should have been dead, that I shouldn't have left the hospital, because I left the hospital and I got rushed back to the hospital 3 hours later. So they told me you were lucky and that you shouldn't have left the hospital. Why did you leave the hospital? I told them I left because I wanted my phone, because they enrolled me into San Bernardino's, and San Bernardino's is a hospital where they don't save lives. So I would have rather checked myself out of that hospital and left and got my phone and went back than to stay there, especially with walking pneumonia. It wasn't that I wasn't trusting God. It was just that I didn't want to be at that hospital. So I get rushed to community. He told me basically, like, you're lucky to be alive, like, So they admitted me, and I was there for at least a week, and they weren't gonna let me go home. When they let me go home, I had to pray. I had my family come to see me way from Los Angeles, and remind you, when I tell you my family was coming, I mean my granny, my god granny. She was coming to see me. My aunt, my uncle was coming to see me. My sister, my godmom's daughter, my god sister, she was coming to see me. Everyone was coming to see my mom and my sister from San Bernardino. They were coming to see me. Everybody was coming to see me, but my condition was getting so bad that they had to come in with bodysuits. Like how they're trying to get people to be in with the coronavirus, and how you got to be bodied up in mask and all that. That was just from my walking pneumonia. Like, they had to put on the bodysuits, and they had to walk in, and they couldn't come in without it, or they risk catching the same thing that I had. Do y'all not know how that made me feel? And all I could think about when I was in there is how where my life had led to, like how my life and how all the good times, and I told you, you could look at a situation, you could look at the good in it, or you could look at the bad, or you could look at the good and the bad. I was looking at nothing but the bad. I'm like, well, look at me now. Like, I'm sitting here in this hospital room, I could barely breathe. Like, anytime that, when you have walking pneumonia, and it hits you, you get like a mini seizure. Your body begins to shake. You throw up and you use the bathroom at the same time, and you get chills and you cannot control your body and you lose strength every time. So I'm going through that, and I'm sitting here and I'm in this hospital room, and I'm like, wow. And there's not one of my friends here. There's not nobody here for me. Like, I can't call my godmom. Like, luckily my family's still here. My granny's here. Like, and it's like this. Like, I don't even want to, I don't want to do this anymore, because if it's like this now, then imagine how it'll be later. Like, I'm not looking at the positive. I'm looking at I'm looking at all the negative things. I'm like, I don't want to continue this anymore. Like, so at this point, I'm telling them, I'm telling the nurses, I'm telling everyone, I'm like, I don't want to fight no more. I'm tired. Like, I asked them this, I remember inboxing my friend Tasha and asking her to bring certain people to the hospital, because I wanted her to bring them so that I can tell them what I wanted to give them certain messages, because if they would have came out and gave them certain messages, I would have chose not to fight anymore. But that was not in God's plan, because they told her no, so she told me no. And I did get a friend. It was my best friend at the time. Her name was Erin. So she came and she saw me in the hospital, and I had got out of my bed actually, and at that time I was so weak that I wasn't getting out of my bed. I wasn't walking. I wasn't doing anything. So when she came, I had got out of my bed. I was walking. I was strong. Like, I was doing good. So when she left, I would all my strength would leave again. Like, when my family would come, I would feel okay. But when they were gone, I would sit in the room and it would be dark. Like, my granny would come in and she'll open the blinds. She'll say, "What are you sitting in the dark for? It's not good to sit in the dark." Remind you guys, I'm on this situation tough because I didn't have nothing then, but I had everything because I still had my life. But I wasn't thinking of it like that. I had nothing there, but I had everything because I had my family there with me, and they were coming there, and I had the doctors that were working their hardest to get me to be better again, and I had everything. I had God with me, but I didn't look at it that way. And that was my last time seeing my granny alive in person, speaking to her, and I asked her, "Granny, can you pray for me?" She put her hands on my back, her and my sister's husband, and they prayed for me. That was my last time seeing my granny alive, because after that, and I got out the hospital, and they let me out with the midline over my heart. I still got I got the bruise. Well, not the bruise, but it's a mark on my arm. And they let me out, and I had to give myself medicine for at least 2 weeks straight. And I ended up conquering that situation. I ended up coming through. God ended up helping me through that situation, and showing me that it was just temporary. I ended up coming through that situation. But he taught me that you don't need anyone. Like I said last time, you don't need anyone to trust in him, trust in his work, trust in his time, and trust in what he has for you. He taught me that, because when I got out and I didn't have anything, I was just devastated. But I ended up getting me another car. And when I got me another car, this is when Storm came into my life. This when Storm came. Remember I told you my dream that I had yesterday, when I went live yesterday. Remember I told you the dream I had. I mentioned that what happened to her was months after what the dream that I had. So Storm came looking for me at this time, and once again, like I told you, once you pray, you get blessed. So I had another car. I wasn't where I didn't go get my job back, but I had my car or whatever, and he had sent Storm to me. But when Storm came back, Storm was trying to do what I was doing back then, like bring everybody together, create unity, get everybody on the same accord, have everybody on the right accord. And she's just trying to, let everybody be heard and get everybody to be understood and all the stuff, and she's trying to get me to understand that I can still trust her and all the stuff, and I would be with her every day. And then when I would go around her, I would be around, Tati and Taj and all of us. It would be all of us. We would be having fun, And then, she like, even though we some of us, we still would agree to disagree, we were able to be content, because that's like family. Like, some y'all don't get along all the time, but when y'all come together, y'all content and y'all make it work, So we came together, and it was what it was. But then Storm started to speak, like, because like I told you, you come together so closely, and you guys start growing so close that y'all closeness start to hemorrhage y'all. So she started to speak about how she felt like she was going to go through a transition, like something was going to happen. And you know, when you start speaking like that, it's because you can feel it in your soul. Your soul starts to let you know. You start to get warned. You start to catch those warnings. So she's speaking to us, and she's letting us know. And I'm not thinking about the dream that I had. I'm not thinking that nothing of that. I'm not, you know. So I have to say, maybe about a week or two passed, and I got the news that Storm had got shot. But I also got news that my friend was she was back. She were out again. Basically, she was good. She was good, basically. So it was like the person that was struggling was out of the struggle, but the person that was not struggling was now struggling. The person that was trying to get the person out of the struggle with me is now struggling. It was like, whoa, like, what the heck? Like, this was crazy. Like, I was so shocked. Like, I was like going in circles. Like, I didn't know what to do. Like, you know. So I immediately just went to try to figure out, like, find out what was going on, like, you know, and everything just started coming to me. Like, everything just started coming to me, like, wow, he showed you this, he showed you this, he showed you this, like, you know, and I knew immediately, like, she's not gonna die. Like, hi, Charity. So I just knew immediately, like, she's not gonna die. Like, my friend's not gonna die. He showed me this. Like, my God showed me this. Like, she's not gonna die. She's gonna go through a process, though. Like, you know, like, she's gonna go through a process, and she's gonna wake up, though. Like, you know. So when when that happened to her, I was back alone again. Like, I didn't hang out with friends or nothing like that. Like, you know, I was back alone again. I was back in my solitude. So he just continuously showing me, you feel me? And he's getting me ready. Like, he's getting me ready for the things that he's really gonna start putting into my life, because he don't stop. He just rises the tempo. He just rises up the pressure, you know? So I end up selling my car that I just got. I ended up selling my car because when I had that car, me and Storm would drive it together all the time anyways. I ended up selling my car, and I ended up going to the hospital to go see her, and going back. And what happened? Basically, we ended up going through our own trials and tribulations personally within my family, and we had to find like stability, you know. Basically, it was time for us to leave San Bernardino. We weren't going to live in San Bernardino anymore, and I started receiving signs that the person that I have been in a relationship with, the guy that I have been in a relationship with, the one that I would call my first love, I don't know why, but I just kept getting signs that he was going to come back into my life, like he was gonna get placed back on my pathway. And I kid you not, shortly after that, he was in my pathway again. And if you knew me then and you know me now, then you knew then I felt like you know, like I was alone. I didn't need nobody. I didn't care if anybody came back or not. Like, I didn't care about that. That wasn't on my agenda no more. That wasn't in my mind no more. I was more so on my own elevated mission, trying to elevate myself. Like, you know, because nobody's gonna do it better than you're gonna do it for yourself. Nobody's gonna love you more than you're gonna love yourself. You know. So I was just more so doing it for myself. And he came out of nowhere, and I ended up moving to Barstow with him. We had been living with each other for at least 2-3 months, and I ended up going to county jail from there. And to remind you, I hadn't been in jail for at least a whole year, and prior to that whole year, I hadn't been in jail. Remember, I told you I went to jail for a house lick, right? I haven't stole from any store or anything or anyone since 2016. Anything that I have, anything that's been going on with me, has been legit and legal. I don't steal. That's not, you don't thief. So I haven't stole since then. I was going through different battles now. I wasn't going through the same kind of battles that I was used to going through, because I had passed those tests already. So I was going through different battles now. So we was learning how to have our own household, because we were blessed with that place. And we was learning to have our own household, how to keep it up, you know, responsibility and priority. And see, I wasn't the only one with a kind heart. He also is blessed with a kind heart. So he opened his door to people. One thing you gotta know is be careful who you open your door to. Be careful who you open your arms to. Be careful who you open up to. Don't just let anybody and everything in. We don't do that, because people come in with the intentions to devour. The devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. So you gotta be careful with what you coming in. You feel what you let come into your life, what you let into your bubble. So when I tell you, we got into the biggest argument ever. Like, the only way that I would have calmed down, other than listening to myself at that point, when you're angry, you're dumb. Like, when you're angry, you're foolish. You don't think straight. Like, when you're angry, you're not thinking. You're at your smartest. Like, you're not. So I was mad. Like, I'm stubborn. I'm not cooperative. Nothing. Like, the police came and they ran my name and I had a warrant, and so they took me to jail. And I was in jail, and I was supposed to only do 3 days, but they booked me in, and I went through 5 different county jails, and they searched me within every jail that I went to, because they took me and booked me in there in Barstow, and then they took me down to New Adelanto. They took me to Adelanto, but everyone, that's not a female prison, that's a male prison. Then they took me down to San Bernardino, and then they took me to West Valley, and then they took me into Glen Helen, and then they took me to CDC. Like, it was crazy. Like, it was a lot going on, But the whole time I was in there, I experienced something that the streets can't teach you. That it tries to, but you don't ever learn it. Like, you don't ever. Because you go in there and you like, wow, so nobody loves me, huh? Nobody gonna write me. Wow, nobody loves me. Nobody gonna put money on my phone. Wow, nobody loves me. Nobody gonna answer the phone. Wow, nobody loves me. Nobody gonna come visit me. Did they do it while you was out, other than when you had something to give them? They didn't do it while you was out, so they're not gonna do it while you in there. And the change, what people don't get is bars don't change love or loyalty. It just tests it. So if you allow yourself to go to jail, you allow somebody to go there, or somebody go to jail, and then y'all fall off, or it is what it is. Their loyalty just was tested, and they wasn't loyal enough for you. They wasn't loyal to you. They wasn't loyal to that. They fell off. Period. Jail don't change. It don't change love. It don't do none of that. It don't, because you behind bars, I love you less. You sound so crazy. Like, what? Because you behind bars, I'm not going to be faithful to you like I was while you were in there. And what, when you really love somebody, you can't even go and be next to another person in no way like that, Just like that. So when I was in there, I had been struggling so bad to the point where I was in debt with the nurse. Like, I was in debt at least like $31 with the nurse. Like, I was getting nothing but fish kits. Like, like they had stopped answering my phone or whatever the case was. Like, cause people in there, they would see you struggling and they would want to help you. And because you think in jail, it's not everything. Everybody's not positive. Like, in there, when you in there, like, you lucky if you see people that feel bad for you. You lucky if you got people that you can relate to, like, and that y'all all on the right path and y'all all positive. You're trying to get out of there, because in jail you got a lot of people in there who's spiteful and who want to make you stay, who want to hate on you, and who you like. So that's why they tell you when you get there, don't tell your business, don't talk about your charges, don't talk about why you're here, because when you tell them that, you're not knowing that they're manipulating, you're not knowing that they're about to reverse psychologize everything on you, and they're asking you so that they can basically make you stay longer, like, because that's all they have better to do there. When you are a person who's less fortunate and you don't have the help that you need, they'll rub it in your face. They'll do anything to get you to stay. Anything at all. Like, anything to get you to stay. So you got to be able to control yourself, hold your own power, know your own power, your own authority within yourself, And so they had made me the dorm minister in there, and like, I had started passing out little scriptures that would fold up in papers. I would start singing with them, going to church with them, I would start literally getting on my knees and praying at nighttime and in the morning time, I would start speaking to the girls, because I was the youngest girl in the dorm. I was 18 years old, and I was in the dorm of 100 girls. I was in Glen Helen, so, but I wasn't scared. Like, I was bold. Like, I just had to do it, So I started telling them about my dreams, because he started giving me more dreams, and he let me know in that moment, and I woke up every day, like, prophesying it, like, he let me know basically that my home wasn't my home no more, that when I got out of jail that it wouldn't be my home, that we lost everything, that the person I was with was in jail now, that they had betrayed me, that they had went against me, that we didn't have a unity no more, that we weren't together anymore, and that we were divided. He let me know everything. My right eye would jump so badly, like it would jump so bad, like, and if you got names tattooed on you, and if that tattoo ever just start itching out of nowhere, that person's probably talking about you. Like, that's the way, like, God's only gonna talk to you in the way that you can understand. So, like, stuff like that, like, if you see, like, the red light just keep flickering while you at the lights and you waiting for it to change to a green light, or you see something that you just seen 1111, like, twice today, like, you know, like, stuff like that, like, you keep seeing 11111, like, those are signs, like, you know, pay attention to them. So, when I would tell them my dreams and everything, they would just try to keep me to be encouraged. Like, no, just think of the good. Think of the good. It'll be good. It'll be great. Like, you know, everything will be great. Like, just, you know, think positive. Like, you know, when I tell you I got a 4-page letter, the worst thing you can ever do, ever do is break up with a person while they're low, like especially if it was something that you knew you would have been left them for in the beginning. The worst thing you can ever do is kick a person while they're already low, like, you know. But, you know, that's what the devil does. So I got a 4-page letter, and that 4-page letter, like, did something so horrible to me. Like, it hurt me in so many different ways. So when I got that letter, I went so crazy. Like, I went crazy in a different way. So the person that I had somebody who was maybe like 2-3 years older than me in there. She told me, like, the best thing you can do is to rip it up so that you don't continue to read it over and over and over again. And once you continue to read something, you put it in your mind, and now you start manifesting things on that, and you don't want that. So just rip it up and just throw it away, like, you know, and just pray on it. So that's exactly what I did. So I kid you not, when it started getting close to release, I didn't even want to leave. Like, I mean, I was excited, yes, a little bit, but I was scared and I was fearful because I knew I had changed. And now I know I've changed. It's not changed out there. It's not going to be changed out there. When I get out there, they're going to feel like I owe them and all this. Like, you know, I knew the routine. I didn't want to go. So I had told the deputies, I would tell the girls, like, I don't want to go. Like, it's ugly out there. Like, I don't want to go. Like, and I would cry to them, like, I don't want to go. Like, you know, and then they would tell me, they would get angry and they would say, do you understand what you're saying right now? Why would you want to stay in jail? You not know how much life it is out there? Do you not know? Like, if you don't go out there, I bet not ever hear you say that again. Why would you want to stay in here? Like, we gonna get out. We're gonna be out there. Like, we're gonna live. Like, if you don't get that out your mind, like, don't ever say you want to stay in jail. Don't ever let nobody put you in a place to where you feel like you want to stay under a rock and you want to stay in jail. You want to go hide. Like, you don't let nobody put you in nothing like that. You don't allow yourself to get put in a place to feel like that. The only refuge that you need is Jesus. The only refuge that you need is God. Like, you don't need to hide. You don't. You really do not need to. So when I tell you, I have followed everything, ripped up the letter, everything, you feel me? I got my release day. You feel me? I get released, and I get released at 12 o'clock in the morning. Okay? Once I got released, I didn't have nothing. Like, I didn't have my phone. I didn't have nothing. Like, I had to use other people's stuff. I had to use other people's phones. Like, I had to struggle. I had to fend for myself. Like, I didn't know what to do. Like, I'll be real with you. I didn't know what to do. I ended up getting a ride. I had to go to people that I knew was not, like, good for me. I ended up going to people that I knew wasn't good for me. But they let me in, and I stayed there for the night. And then I went to a lot of people that I wouldn't usually go to. And you got to be careful, because when you're going through things in your life, you might got to go to people that you wouldn't usually go to. You might got to accept people in that you wouldn't usually accept in. You might got to, like, change your perspective on it, because if you don't change your perspective, then, I mean, it's going to always be the same for you. So, like, I had to, like, man, like, I had to ask for so much help, like, and with it asking for so much help, I had to find out that my life was really changing, like, my life was really falling down, like, the life that I knew was falling down, like, what, this is crazy, like, but I'm gonna end this, because I've been on here for at least an hour, like, you feel me, and this is just a part of my testimony, and that is just from 2015 to, now, 2017, so tomorrow, I would say 7 o'clock, but I'm going to say from the 7 o'clock to 8
o'clock, 8:30 bracket. I'm gonna go live again. This is what I do. So, and if y'all don't see my video, and if y'all miss my video, it's gonna still be here. Hi, Yana. It's gonna still be here. But also, don't forget, do me a favor, you guys, and go check out Faith. Her name is Faith Yvette on Facebook. Go check out Faith, because she's another person out here who's preaching the gospel, and she's giving out the motivation, and God is using her as a vessel. She is one of God's vessels. I would love for y'all to go look on her page also, because she's online in the daytime, in the morning time, and she gives out the morning messages. Okay, she gives the food for thought. All right. And so I just want to pray for everybody, and I want everybody to know that, you feel me, we all here for each other. We're all in the same, we all gotta go to the same accord here, you know. So I just pray to God that we all get blessed today. I pray to God that anybody that's out there tonight, anybody that's out there in the cold, who don't have any shelter, who don't have any food, who don't have any clothes on their back, any shoes on their feet, who don't have any loves or any type of support, I pray that you just let them know that you love them, and that as long as that you love them, that as long as they're here, that it's going to get better. I pray that anybody who's sick, anybody who has caught the coronavirus, anybody who is at work right now and who worries, anybody who doesn't have the funds to make it through, but because they have to know that you're the one who has you have your hands over this whole situation right now. So I pray for anybody who needs those kind of blessings. Let them know that the blessings are on the way. Let them know that the blessings are already there. The blessings are already there. They just gotta open their eyes and see it. I pray that you touch so many people right now, because in this generation is so much darkness going on right now. I pray that anything dark in anybody's life, any trial or tribulation that they're going through, that you bind the devil in their life, and that you rebuke him, because the devil is a liar and a deceiver, and he only comes to kill, steal, and destroy. I pray that you rebuke him. I pray that you rebuke him out of anybody's life, and I pray that you set anyone who's coming to you, let them know that once their salvation is just up. You can't go nowhere from once you low, you can't go nowhere but up. Okay, I pray that you just come into their lives, and that you show them that there is no other way to peace but through you. There's no other way to life but through you, and that you only want the best for them. In your name, I pray, amen.